It's September 9th, 2021. Yesterday was September 8th. It was the blustery, windy, gusty storm that turned my umbrella inside out and my hat blew off. Today is a completely separate day, but today the weather looks, the tornadoes said that they were going to be 2 days worth of tornadoes between the looking like a smoky gray to a red to a green on that tornado watch. It had a date of September 8th and September 9th. I only felt the wind, though, on September 8th. I have not felt the wind in Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361, on September 9th. There's been really very little gusts of wind at all today. I haven't walked out nearly as much, but when I was out, it drizzled a little bit. One time it wasn't. But the wind is not there to take my umbrella and turn it inside out, or to rip my hat off, for strength. I did yesterday, on September 8th, the day that the hat did blow off, will tell you that later in the afternoon, there's a guy that comes into my neighborhood that doesn't live here. He's got, he's not related to me whatsoever. He looks like he is a light-skinned, dark person, best I can do. Like, if I was making a coffee and I put some cream in it and it lightened more than half, maybe 3/4, that's the color he is. He comes in my village, or my main street, with loitering with a box of candy to bother and sell to the pedestrians. Yesterday he stood by the train station. I've told him that he's not welcome in front of pedestrians that turned him down, denied him, didn't want the candy. I've had him stand other times in front of me while I'm holding my umbrella. This asshole is just completely belligerent and, like, does not listen. Like, he's told not to come into Bayside. I'm a resident. He's not. I told him he's not welcome here. And he's not allowed to sell candy to strangers on the sidewalk. Just isn't. He's not allowed to use charity funds or charity money to build himself any kind of credit, national security-wise or not. Because that's what they do. They are some of the sneakiest, most disgusting, underhanded, deceitful shitbags I've ever seen. So now, I found out through my interweb of planetary whatever, in just knowing things, I have a hand-raised question. So now, my color and my genetic was blocked from receiving national security funds and national security help from, say, the Italians, where Lou came from as an American. So Lou moves from Italy to the United States of America in 1955. And his father was a respectable Salapini man from Italy, from their service corps. And all of a sudden his son just gets looked over, gets what? I mean, because he's never had employment like himself. He's never really gotten his groove. It's been more of this problem. And I've never had an in whatsoever. I will say, though, that there was some talks of 3 different National Guard training camps. One was Kuwait, one was Afghanistan, and one was Pakistan. I was not invited front face. Like, nobody came to Linda's door and asked if I could attend a session, or whatever you call them, meet with groups and leaders. Nobody came and offered me transit to these things. There's no working memory in this broken epigenetic sequence of born identity Nicole Cataruzza in a star catalog of star 1978, star 8378 under Dinkus. And actually, I wouldn't even say Dinkus, because Dinkus wound up being a problematic mayor in New York City. My grandfather had a girlfriend by the name of Dinka from respectable Slovenia somewhere in like the beauty of Russia, not the whatever's not us. And so and tries to steal identity and sound making. So let me think about this. So there was a mayor by the name of Dinkis, which is an onomatopoeia problem, for sure, within the city of New York, because he was the wrong color, he was not a family member. And I don't know if that is tied into the problem between Kuwait, Afghanistan, Pakistan from my United States of America Marine Corps of Representatives and National Security reps. It seems to me that every single piece of this time frame, century 19 and century 20, leading into something called a century 21, which there is no longer. There's no point to exit a century 20. Right now, as it stands, in century 20, decade 2 plus 1 year, there's no point in even keeping this amount of life sustained. I wouldn't save the planet. I wouldn't save the people. What I would do is I would unplug the energy cord and just kill them all instantaneously and leave. There's not a thought process. There's not a government. There's not a business. There's not an industry. There's not anything I would save. They've raped the oceans. They've raped the lands. They've raped the ability to find work. They've poisoned the airs. They've poisoned the waters. They've poisoned the food, so you can't even grow your own food. Here's the amount of land that we have right here. It looks like an auger. Everything is chemically manufactured and packaged, which is part of the like dermal and subdermal biological problem with poison in this type of human arrangement with greater spiritual beings elsewhere, let's call it, at the moment. So now the setup was they deprived me, which means they deprived my children. They deprived my father, which means they deprived me, his child, of any kind of national security understanding in this United States of America. So that's U.S.A. While being housed in the state of New York. While being stationed at Bayside Station and several others. I've been in Bayside Station. I've been in places I've stayed a while is Bayside Station, which is Bayside, New York. Patchogue 11772, and Ronkonkoma 11779, and Bayside being 11361. Other than that, it's been transient. And the only time I've stayed out of state briefly was in Virginia, in Chesterfield. I know that my son, Cat Scratch Anthony's got a big insignia of a boat with 3 sails, which is most likely his brothers Benjamin, Daniel, and Alexander, for Manchester, Manchester, which is Red Devil, Reddevil, which is lived when you look at it backwards, for MIB. Let's think about this. Alright, so I can't get this shitbag that keeps coming into my neighborhood, but there seems to be a gigantic changeover, and I don't know why. Flushing was where my family in the Irish side was living back in the generation before my mom arrived, which is my Mariah's day and age. There was a family house, a big, beautiful Victorian, called they didn't name the house, but it was Virginia, Dottie, Teddy, and Howard, and whatever. They grew up there in Flushing, and it was our family lineage white, which back then I think that they called themselves Irish. I don't know of any other word for it. And that was respectful word back then. I don't know if it's ever taken a turn for the worse, but anything's possible in this day and age with these humans making all sorts of sounds and judgments. So, but when I arrived, everybody was moving out of Flushing because it was turning into this like multinational population, and mostly in the Asian fusion flavor of what nowadays in my century, by the time decade 7 came about, it was what made sounds that said Korean or Chinese. I put a big umbrella of Asia. I don't know, because I cannot tell the countryman specific for identity for pride, so I just give a band-aid of umbrella for not upsetting whatever it is, for management purposes. But so they moved in and bought up all of the real estate, I'm assuming, or their property manager did, and moved all of the white families out and replaced our white with their white. And that became a problem. But that's in Flushing, and I think that's where, I don't know what town Shea Stadium is in, but it is now like a totally different country down that way. It doesn't even look like the United States of America. It's like a mini country, which is a problem. And then it comes down the Northern Boulevard, and it's affected Bayside, but I think they're pushing back ever so slightly because it did go past me to Little Neck for a while. But I don't know, there's some underlying subculture going on and some fight I'm not a part of. I didn't go to Kuwait, I didn't go to Afghanistan, I didn't go to Pakistan. So I don't have the National Guard training of where they keep the white kids out and they send off to enlighten only everything that's not American. I mean, did the rest of the country of United States of America, like, you're sending your kids to Texas or to, like, Hitler's youth camp in Texas or, like, anywhere else? I mean, the other kids got to go outer country. I couldn't get in-country National Guard, like, happily never having to return home, and I couldn't get out of country, go off and never return home. I don't quite understand you humans. Why the hell would you lock me into the story in New York? I don't like you that much, and I could have been better used in a different manner. I'm a cryptic animal. I'm not like the rest of you, and I'm an only child with no family. I fell out of a dark hole in a place that didn't want me, and I didn't want to be part of. It should have made management's job really fucking easy. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cataruzza. It's September 9th, 2021, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. That's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, and Galaxy is broken.